Hello, welcome to this. My name is Layla. Today I'm gonna be looking at the sonnet called Went to the Sessions of Sweet Silent Thought by William Shakespeare. Shakespeare, we all know that guy, don't we? Kinda made our lives a little bit of shaky spear. I don't know what I said. Anyway, Shakespeare, getting down to it. Sonnets are he owned it. There's a thing called an Italian sonnet and there's something called a Shakespearean sonnet, which Sonnet 30 is Shakespearean sonnet. He was so badass, he made sonnets, the own structure of it, and also made couple of new words, Anyway, Sonnet 30 by William Shakespeare. We're just gonna go better background knowledge of Shakespeare. Even though he's ancient, we must probably go back and revisit him another time. This time. So Shakespeare, although he was known to be a playwright, his plays, the very most popular one, Romeo and Juliet, Othello, Hamlet, Macbeth, all of those, tragic plays, but really good. He also wrote poems and sonnets, and his sonnets, please know that they don't have titles. They go by according to the numbers that they're written. For instance, this one, Sonnet 30, way to identify it is also by the first line. Went to the sessions of sweet silent thought would be line 1 of it. Shakespeare was born in 1564 and died in 1616. He's really ancient. He's known to be the most eminent writer in English literature. He lived in London and he married Anne Hathaway and had 3 children. He wrote many plays and he also wrote sonnets and poetry. And well, you have people who kind of study Shakespeare's life and whatever, and they kind of speculate these poems and sonnets that there's this rather shadowy figure known as the Dark Lady. And it's even been thought that perhaps this Dark Lady could have been a man. Shakespeare wrote his sonnets for a guy, probably known as the Dark Lord. Anyway, his work still lives on. I mean, we could know, we don't, people speculate and speculate, you don't really get the answer. It's just I don't know why people speculate, but anyway, Shakespeare let's get down to it, Went to the sessions of sweet silent thought. I summon up remembrance of things past. I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought, and with all woes new wail my dear time's waste. Then can I drown an eye, unused to flow, for precious friends hid in that stateless night, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woe, and mourn the expense of many a vanished sight. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to woe tell over the sad account of full bemoan moan, which I knew pay as if not paid before. But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored and sorrows end. Yay! Okay, so Shakespearean sonnet has 3 quatrains and the last 2 lines are a rhyming couplet. And each quatrain has 4 lines and they follow the rhyme scheme of A, B, C, D, C, D, and so on. And let's go to the first quatrain. The first quatrain always introduces the argument and it contains the poet's idea. It's in a Shakespearean sonnet. And we'll see it when he says when. When gives us the image of time, the past tense is created, sessions, the period of time sitting under a court of law. Also pay attention to the diction he uses in this poem. It's very financial, like accounting type of words that he uses, and we'll see that why as we go further into it. Went to the sessions of sweet silent thought, silent thinking by yourself in stillness, and he's reminiscing and he's thinking back, he's looking back at it. And we see the alliteration in the first line, the repetition of the S, where he recalls a sense of calmness, and this S sound echoes a sense of silence, and the poet is thinking of sweet, calm experiences in the past and how his life has gone by. Pleasant. And then line 2, we have the word summon, to summon up, to call up. You know, it's a very strong word that he uses here. It's just summon up. I wish I could summon up something. Yeah, he uses that. It's very strong, but it also emphasizes the state that he's in, you know. He just summons it. And then line 3, I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought. To sigh is an expression to let out his breath. To sigh, indicating exhaustion, fatigue, awareness, frustration, sorrow. Lack indicates something that he doesn't have. It's the absence of something. And then sought tells us that he still desires things that he hasn't attained. And then line 4, all woes, new while my dear times waste, like a tongue twister, eh? Alliteration of the W here, well, waste, woes. This emphasizes the extent the poet is grieving as he recalls his past. This shows us that he's unable to let things go. And that was the first quatrain. We see that he's lost in thought and recalling the past. He's like sitting and reminiscing. Yeah, Shakespeare. And then quatrain 2. Quatrain 2 seconds and furthers the argument and idea that we see, that we already know of from quatrain 1. It furthers it, where he says, then can I drown an eye unused to flow. Drown an eye meaning in tears, that he's in tears, you know. Then can I cry? And he remembers this past and he feels tearful about his dear friend. And we see this in line 6, where he mentions his friend. But precious friends hid in that stateless night. That's precious, something that is dear to him. Hid meaning something to hide or conceal. That stateless night. Dateless has no date and is unpredictable. So like death, you know, has no due date attached to it, because no one can actually predict when something will die, when that will come. It's the most unpredictable thing. Even if you plan it, you never know what you never know. So he feels that death has robbed him of his friend. Death is put next to dateless, as it does not come to an end. Therefore, you cannot put a date to death. And the poet remembers his friends that have passed on. So his friend unfortunately passed away, and this is why he feels sad and has been taken away from him. He feels that. And then line 7, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woe. And weep afresh, that he's crying again, but he's crying fresh tears, like the newness, fresh. Although, you know, this happened a long time ago, but when he just thinks about it, he remembers and he relives the pain of the past. In this, weep afresh, new tears. And then line 8, and moan the expense of many a banished sight. And moan the expense, to groan, to complain. And he describes, you know, expense also diction of the finance. We said, look at the diction. He feels that he has this expense to pay by him grieving for his friend's loss. That, you know, by doing this, he's using his time, and in the end, you know, we'll realize that it was a waste because his friend cannot return. So this expense, that's also that of finance, diction, accounting. And that is the end of the second quatrain. And then moving, the second quatrain is seconds furthers the argument. The idea of, we see the poet is weeping for this grief that he's feeling. And then in quatrain 3, it sums up the argument. And we see that line 9, and then can I grieve at grievous since foregone. Grievous says sad events that he uses a pitiful tone. He pities himself, Then can I grieve that grievous is foregone. He brings up his past and he feels sorry and saddened and depressed. He's in a state of mind where he just cannot get out. He feels trapped by his past and his thoughts, thinking of his friend. He's unable to get out of it, out of his mind. And then line 10, and heavily from woe to woe tell over. Woe to woe. He uses the word woe a lot, and this is for emphasis, to emphasize the feelings of depression that he has. And woe to woe, what is it? Tell over, it's over and over, recurring. The sad account of for bemoan, moan. Accounts also pertaining to diction, to finance, which I knew pay as if not paid before. So this is how sad the poet feels, like he feels weighed down by his sorrows. And, he repays for something that he has already paid for. He cried for when his friend died the first time, and now that he's rethinking, he's re-mourning again. He's re-mourning again his sorrow for his friend. So that's the diction there. Accounts, pay and paid and paid. So, which I paid as if not paid before. So I'm doing this as if I've never did it before. I'm grieving as if I've never grieved before. And paying account once more, thinking about his friend and remembering it, his friend. And then we get to the last 2 lines because we finished the third quatrain, which sums up this recollecting of past sorrows in this idea that the poet has. Rhyming couplet, the last 2 lines, revealing the theme of the poem. The theme of it, it's just, yes, with the word but. But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are returned and sorrows end. So here he uses the word but, and but changes the idea of this poem, of what the poet is experiencing, to a more positive note. You, directing his friend, regardless of whatever pain and suffering he has been feeling and going through, it all comes to a stop. It all comes to a sudden stop when he thinks of his dear friend, when he thinks of his friend, that now he thinks of his friend, all of his pain and suffering is restored and fixed again. He feels quite at ease and happy at it. And yeah, that was the poem. Went to the Sessions of Sweet Silent Thoughts sonnet. So the central theme of the poem is about the way the speaker wastes time and energy regretting things that perhaps he has lost in the past. And then, the use of financial terminology and ideas about accounting that runs through the poem suggests that there should be a form of accounting for what has happened and the way it was dealt with. Okay, that was the poem, Sonnet, Went to the Sessions of Sweet Silent Thought. I hope it made sense. So the last 2 lines, the rhyming couplet, reveals the theme of the poem, where the poet comes to contentment, acceptance, all that. That is the ultimate aim of the emotions that he's feeling. He has been so down and depressed, and now he's just at peace with it. So he's like at good vibes, eh? And yeah, I hope that I actually made sense explaining this poem. What I actually like about it is that the turning of emotions, we see it in being portrayed, and that's what Shakespeare wrote. And it's really nice. I don't know, I like poetry. Anyway, thank you so much, and I hope I did make sense. I think I said it. But yeah, have a great day, night, whatever you are doing. Good vibes, and thank you.